You know, I'll tell you, I love starting off the stream with a tape that is so big that it doesn't fit in the screen. I should have done that. Thank you for returning to Alpha Male Betamax from A to Z. We're starting off with Lassiter in the big fancy box. And I feel like I've mentioned this video before, but I've told you 100 times. I get confused if I show this on a live stream instead of this sort of angle where you can really see the thing. That's sort of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to see so you can remember movies that you forgot about. One person wrote me a note, and listen, that was very touching. That I sort of reactivated his brain on a movie he'd long since forgot. And that's sort of the point of this. I love it when I hear a story like that, but I'm also doing this so, there's a record, because YouTube, I mean, while it can't go on at infinity, you can watch me probably put this tape in too. I'm remedial tape placement. Oh, you bastard. So there's a record that this ever existed, because these things are falling apart. The tape's going to disintegrate. I don't see a possible way where I'm going to be able to digitize all this stuff, and so you have that experience. I know you can watch Lassiter. I think I've got a 4K over there on the shelf. But you can't see it like this. And you say, oh, what do you mean, shitty? Well, there's that, but there's also like, the presentation and the intros and the outro and the, who mastered the tape and movies that were out at the time that they wanted you to watch. You can't really get all that flavor. So, long way of saying it's nice that these are here. This is, as weird as this sounds, this is exactly the kind of video I would watch on YouTube. And I've seen some guys show their Betamax in their haul, but it's always with the worst camera, with the worst lighting, and they're kind of on the carpet, on the floor, and you can't really see anything. Speaking of which, I'm trying to get that all the way in there. So I just wanted to show it a little bit better. That's why I stopped doing live streams about this too. I thought, this isn't the best way to do this. I know there's no, true interaction, but you can always write in the comments. So, and I don't even know what this movie's about. And boy, am I not going to be able to read that. On the eve of World War II, the master race has a master plan. Funnel a small fortune through a German embassy to London to finalize fifth column activities in Europe and South America. The medium of exchange, diamonds. Okay, so it's a heist movie, I guess. Throw in some Nazis, Magnum PI. I would watch that. I hadn't opened the one on my shelf. Lion, look at that, baby. Now that is some fancy shit there. Look at the size of this thing. I'll try to show it in pieces here. You can see it was a rental because I can see that number up there. 1493. Was this your video store? Do you remember cataloging this as 1493? Please contact me. I would like to talk to you about what it was like. What it was like me kicking the tripod while I'm moving my chair and then not getting it straight again. These are the things I love. I love to go crazy. There we go. So Anthony Quinn, he's a good actor, but you know what I mean? I don't know. Rod Steiger, John Gielgud. Now it's Sir John Gielgud. I would watch this. Gielgud always elevates whatever he's in. So when you think of great actors, people say, well, Tom Cruise is a movie star. And listen, he goes out there and does some crazy stuff. Mission Impossible Final Reckoning's about to come out here pretty soon, within weeks. And, they're showing him doing these crazy stunts, hanging on airplanes and jumping off cliffs on a motorcycle. And he's really doing it. It's not CGI stuff. And it's crazy, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a guy who can stand there and give you dialogue and you're just like, wow. You know what I mean? Those Mission Impossible movies, I enjoy them. And they're good. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about a different kind of acting. One that, you know, oh, look at this. I mean, talk about fancy, huh? Now, did he take one of these boxes or did the studio give this out? Says nothing. I don't know. But it fits in that box perfectly? Wow, I mean, look at this. It's older than shit. Look at this. A baggie. So this couldn't have been from the studio, right? Be kind, rewind now. So this is some kind of hybrid thing they're doing. Funny. Well, now we know why the cases look like this, right? So they can fit in there. Oh boy. Yeah, this one's been through the mill, folks. Lion of the Desert. What does that say? Security seal. That is so weird to me. Like, what were people doing? That you had to put a sticker over the tape. Why on earth would you ever open the tape? Unless you were doing like I did and we're trying to repair some mold, which, while it worked, the effort that I had to put out to get it there was not worth it. So sadly, some tapes are just going to be gone. Now, I have any chance of reading this? Let's see. The Italian fascists grow... Am I supposed to be reading across or down? Frustrated with the 20-year war they have waged against the North African Bedouin tribe. The fascist leader Mussolini orders his generals to destroy the Bedouin resistance at any cost and capture their leader, that's Anthony Quinn, despite the fact that his troops outnumber the resistance general Grozomyzy finds that he is waging a losing battle against the valiant rebels. Well, I mean, it's just like that situation, right? When they can use the land to hide. Look at America Revolution, right? Got to take a drink here, sorry. The American Revolution, we were able to beat the strongest army in the world because we would sit there and take these mystery swipes at them, and we were killing their officers. We were it's called the first guerrilla warfare, really. And the English found out that the amount of expenditure it would need to control the situation, they were just like, fuck it, we're leaving. So sounds like one of those stories right there. Unless you're willing to wipe out everybody you see, which probably Mussolini was, I don't know. That's a tough game. United States has found out as recently as the Iraq War. It just ain't working. Lost in America. I've heard so much about this. This guy Albert Brooks and all that. So I've never seen it though, but it's got the chick from Airplane. What do you think this thing is about? Goodbye, Rat Race. Hello, Human Race died in the 3-piece. Yippee, David Howard is dropping out now. It's not like David to act so impulsively. He put in 8 long years at a big-time ad agency during the corporate... So this is a guy who's sick of his job and then travels the United States in a Winnebago. I don't know. That guy's usually funny. I think his best film is Mother. But I don't know. This one's been around a while, huh? Fancy box. Lost in America, Albert Brooks. Buy the board game. And there's Dudley Moore, king of that time period, like I've mentioned several times before. Elizabeth McGovern. She's the chick on Downton Abbey now, right? Am I right about that? There we go. You can see it there. What is this about? The psychiatrist who's crazy about a patient. Oh, so this is crossing. That's the boomers again. They'll cross any line, won't they? There's one thing about being a psychiatrist. You never know who's likely to walk in through the door. It might be an accountant with a serious need to fly. With a serious need to fly? If I can see, I barely can see that, but that says whatever. Children painter whose work is a little too graphic. What? Or an ex-professor. What does that say? To keep his brain from being stolen. Okay. Okay. This sounds whacked out, bro. I mean, I like Dudley Moore, so I would probably look at this, but pretty wild premise. Lovesick. I might watch that. I like those too. Dudley, I mean, I know Dudley's not the greatest actor that's ever lived, but I do enjoy. For me, he elevates material, even though I know whatever. I remember when this movie came out. I used to see it at the video shelf all the time. And I was looked at it and went, nah. It just didn't look right. But, I mean, I don't even really need to read it, do I? You can see it. Look, obviously she makes some kind of robot. It was John Malkovich, of which at this time nobody had heard of John Malkovich. Certainly he wasn't on my radar. John Malkovich is utterly delightful as both a research scientist and his look-alike android. Oh, that's kind of fun, right? So, what is he, a big dud? And so she makes an android and programs him to be a good person. And then what? The robot breaks, and then the other guy decides he's going to be a good person. And then there's no more robot. Square One Video. Here's somebody new we haven't seen. Does that say Hawthorne Boulevard, Portland, Oregon? And 2367308. Well, I think they're still there. I doubt it. Probably got burned down a couple of years ago. Making Mr. Right. You know what? That actually doesn't sound that bad. I might check that out. Ah, here it is. The first time you saw the moonwalk. I remember this. I was actually flipping through channels when this was on, and I saw Michael Jackson, and he was singing Billie Jean. I'm like, oh, Billie Jean, that's a big hit, and I'm watching it. And then all of a sudden, this guy does a moonwalk, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And, today, you think, oh, well, that's silly. Our minds were blown. I just got to tell you. That was something else. So I guess that's on here because this is the special they were showing. 2 hours, 10 minutes. Probably made it a television event, huh? Oh, come here, you. Look at that. Can you see that? I don't know what kind of light you can see because there's a stack of tapes here that's eating some of my light. I didn't really think that through. Did I say Adam Ant? Adam Ant is on the 25th anniversary Motown. Commodore's okay. The Bar? Fuck, this sounds great. Four Tops, Marvin Gaye, Howard Hessman. I can't read what that says. The Jacksons, Jermaine Jackson, Michael Jackson, Rick James, bitch. The Miracles, John Scotty Jr., Richard Pryor. Does he come out and do jokes? Tim Reed, Lionel Richie, good. Smokey Robinson, Linda Ronstadt, Diana Ross, T.J. Shepard, The Temptations. I don't know what Junior Walker. There was a J.J. Walker from Good Times. Mary Wells, Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian himself, the Lester Williams Dancers, Mary Wilson, isn't that one of the Hart sisters? And Stevie Wonder. Well, shit, this looks good, huh? Wow. I gotta check that out. I should have put that on day one. Charles Bronson, Mr. Majestic. There, it looks so right. giant shotgun beta video cassette. It was a rental. Look at the fancy, whatever. Let's see, who's in this? Al Latrani, Linda Crystal, Lee Parcel, Paul Kelso, Taylor Lurch. Nobody I ever heard of. Heard of Charles Bronson, though. What's that say? Do not remove. I thought that sort of, clearly someone's put this in backwards. Yeah, I'm not going to fuck with it. Could ruin this shit around here, so I'm going to leave it alone, but there you go. What do we got here? No one beats the mob, but even the mob can't push Vince Majestic too far. When he finally does, there's hell to pay. Charles Bronson stars an ex-con and Vietnam vet, Mr. Majestic, whose efforts to run a straight business seem thwarted at every turn. A town tough. Oh, so they're describing the man as a tough. All right. Harasses him for employing Hispanic migrant workers on his farm. The local police jail him on a false charge. Well, it sounds like he was... Okay, whatever. False charge. I guess I don't know what the charge is. The local police jail him on a false charge, and when a mafia hitman destroys his crop for... Do hitmen do that? Couldn't you just get some regular toughs to do that? You got to get the hitman to do it? Destroy his crops for crossing them during a jailbreak. Majestic's short fuse is used up. The whole world around him. This sounds fantastic, I got to tell you. That sounds absolutely delightful. I love it when somebody's wronged and then the people that wronged them just are so sorry they did it. What do we got here? What's up with this chick? I'm not even recognizing the people on here. Let's see what we see. MGM home video presentation. And what is that? I can't even read that. Somebody lovers. Maybe you can read it from here. Maria's lovers. That's what that says. And that's the guy from Winds of War. I'm blanking on his name at the moment. That looks like... I can't think of his name. That looks like the guy from the helicopter show. Robert Mitchum, that's the name. Natasha Kinski again. I told you, any movie she's in, man. Keith Carradine. That doesn't sound too bad. Look at that. Maria's Lover. Never heard of it. Natasha Kinski, John Savage, Robert Mitchum, Keith Carradine, Anita Morris, Burt Cord, Karen Young. Karen Young, that's from Indiana Jones, right? Tracy Nelson. I can't remember what she was on. Square Pegs, I think. John Goodman from Roseanne. And Danton Stone, don't know. No. What is this movie about? She hooking up with all these dudes? She's every man's dream girl. But the only man she wants can't have her, okay? Natasha Kinski in her most provocative role since Tess is Maria, one of the girls left behind during World War II. What does that mean? Oh, I see. Her lovely image of absolute innocence on the brink of sensual discovery blossoms into the heart of Maria's lovers, a nostalgically... How can that be nostalgically? A nostalgically romantic drama set in America after the war. John Savage is Ivan, her childhood sweetheart. Having returned from war, brooding with conflicting inner passions he can't express, he's scarred by nightmares of the Japanese... Oh my God, I can imagine. Camp where he dreamed of Maria to block out the horrors. But when they marry and his dreams become reality, become real, Ivan can't separate the memories of the prison camp from the images of Maria that helped him through. Unable to understand her husband's impotence, ouch, thank you, Maria finds herself tempted by the men passionately attracted to her. In this fascinating performance, Academy Award winner Keith Carradine emulates I don't know that word. Emanatus. Seduction. I know that's a word I probably know. Seduction as a womanizing troubadour, and in fact wrote the evocative ballad Maria's Eyes for the film. Robert Mitchum, Anita Morris, and Bud Cord round out the remarkable cast with magnificent cinematography capturing life in America's heartland. Maria's Lovers vividly recreates an age of post-war innocence coming to grips with a complex morality. That sounds like a tough watch, sir. That looks like a toughie. We got here Misunderstood. There's Mr. Hackman again. Probably the biggest star in this time period. I mean, he's got movies I never even heard of. This would be one of them. Fancy box here. Let's see. Henry Thomas, that's the E.T. kid. Rip Torn, isn't that from Larry Sanders, right? Huckleberry Fox, okay. Maureen Kerwin, Susan Anspach, June Brown, Helen Ryan, Namaswati, Nado Boster. I've never heard of those people. Misunderstood. Huh. If you don't want to come out, don't come out. Misunderstood. I'm not seeing any rental signs there. Could this be an untouched film? Could be. Sure not seeing anything. What is this about? A celebration of family love in the midst of family crisis. Oh God. They live in a palace by the sea. Boy, my eyes. Two younger brothers whose wealthy parents have given them a sheltered, carefree existence in a hilltop Tuscan villa. Their life is something out of a fairy tale until their mom suddenly dies and her loss leaves scars that won't heal. Gene Hackman stars as the shattered widower, struggling to be both parents to his kids, Henry Thomas, V.T., and Huckleberry Fox of Terms of Endearment. When the older son tries with too much seeming success. What? When the older son tries with too much seeming success to control his grief like an adult, his father forgets that he's still a child with aching emotional needs. Only by breaking through their blocked emotions can the two bridge the chasm wandering between them. Misunderstood is a anyway, you get the point of what's going on there. I'd watch that. And now we're here at the last one of this set. Mike's Murder. I don't know if I've talked about this before or told you the story of Mike's Murder. I remember we went into a mom and pop store, and of course it's very hard to get a movie that you wanted back then, because the hot title, there was probably only one or two in a mom and pop. And my brother grabbed Mike's Murder. We all sat here and watched it, and we were dumbfounded with how boring it was. And for the longest time, this movie was shorthand for a shit movie, right? I wandered upon this, I don't know, 20 years ago. I revisited the situation and realized that it was just my immaturity, and that this was actually a very interesting movie and a wonderful time capsule. And I don't even need to read it. I can tell you basically it is kind of weird in this way. Deborah Winger meets this guy for like 10 minutes and all of a sudden is infatuated with the guy and starts following him around, but he's hard to get a hold of. And all of a sudden he's dead, and she tries to sort of unravel that. And it's just wild. And this movie is for smart people. If you enjoy a smart mystery, not just kind of mindless entertainment, give this one a try. Did I just do that backwards even though I'm looking at it? Oh, I guess I didn't. So Mike's Murder, give that one a try, huh? If you like, it's bizarre. I'll give it that. It's a little weird, but it's a slow burn movie, and I like it. Now that I have matured. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you stayed this long, what does that say? 25 minutes. If you stayed that long, I appreciate you. You must really like Betamax and movies and etc. So hopefully I will see you on the next one. See you later.